Hello, everybody, and the news that we have finally been waiting to hear has happened. Johnny Manziel has been cut by the Cleveland Browns, and this has been widely expected throughout the league. And Johnny has had a lot of off-field issues, and the Browns have just been really fed up with him, and it's just about time that just let him go. But you know, this really says something that about Johnny Manziel. That is he going to really stay in the league? Is he going to try to get with another team? What team is going to take a chance on him? Uh, I have to think he can get somewhere, but it's gonna be tough. We heard the Cowboys, we've heard other teams that maybe, but teams have got to see some improvement in his behavior if they're gonna want to take a chance on him. But his off-field track record does not look good, and it's really going to be hard for him to find a team. Maybe he can get a backup position somewhere, but it's going to be really tough. But the Cleveland Browns have just not been voting well with their first-round picks as of late. They've had 8 first-round picks since 2011, and only 4 of them are with the team right now, and that really just says something about the management. They're not really doing a good job of maybe scouting about taking the good guys that they really need to. But they've got to see improvement. They've been seeing players leave this free agency, and they haven't really been making any moves to bring players in. But they've just been having a lot of issues with this team management. They've had fired head coaches. I don't think they've had a coach stay there longer than 2 seasons. It's just a really organization that needs improvement and needs more stability that they've lacked for a very long time. And if Johnny Manziel does happen to get on a team, maybe like the Cowboys, he can maybe get a backup position. We've seen Tony Romo get injured as of late. Last season he missed a lot of games, and they've been lacking of a backup. But that could be a spot that he lands because Jerry Jones has shown that he's willing to take a risk on a guy like Greg Hardy. That could be a sign that he'd be willing to take the same risk as Johnny Manziel. And Kevin Walsh, if you want to hop in here, just discussing a little Johnny Manziel breaking news. Johnny Manziel has been cut by the Cleveland Browns. What do you got to say on that?
Oh, obviously, we all saw this coming. How you doing, Dave? By the way,
Hey, how you doing, man?
first time we've seen each other today. We all saw it coming. To me, I think the question is where does he go, and how do the Browns replace him? Oddest thing I see is that's Kaepernick's preferred destination is Cleveland. I guess he wants all pressure removed because you're the quarterback for the Browns. There's really no pressure. You're supposed to fail. But that kind of then made me think Johnny and Chip, Manziel and Kelly. I mean,
it could work.
realistically, for Johnny's personal life, probably a bad idea. But then again, maybe it's not, right? We were speaking yesterday about this, and you said Chip treats all his guys like college kids still. I think Johnny needs to be treated like a high schooler, maybe even an elementary schooler, right? And on the field, right? Not even on the field, schematically. I mean, you think about Chip's offense and the type of quarterback that would probably be best fit. Johnny's actually a somewhat decent option.
Yeah, and he would be perfect in the read option. He has the ability to throw the ball down the field, and he can use his legs. Everybody knows he can use his legs, and that could be a good spot for him to be. But the offensive line's got to protect him. He's never really had an offensive line at Texas A&M to begin with, but
Here's the thing, and this is why I was actually thinking about this, right? So apparently the Niners, if they do move on from Kaepernick, which now does seem pretty likely, if for them to move on from Kaepernick, they move on from Colin, and they're going to be looking to get RG3. Now their offensive line is not the best. If you think about RG3's injury history and putting him with an offensive line that's going to allow him to get hit a lot is probably not the best idea. As to where Johnny's thrived and, quite frankly, made his name off not having the best offensive lines and making these outstanding plays. And I'm not even going to say that the 49ers are going to be great with Johnny Manziel, but what I'm saying is sign him and make him and Gabbert compete for the starting job. I'm scared. I'm scarily saying this in a way where I don't hate it. I actually am quite a fan of the idea.
yeah. And then before you got here, I was just kind of speculating on what teams would take a chance on him because we've seen his off-field behavior has just not gotten any better, and it's kind of hard for a team to really trust him that it's gonna get better. And I mentioned the Cowboys. Everybody knows Jerry Jones has taken chances on guys. They really need a backup, and he could be a decent choice for a backup. But you know, I find it hard to believe that maybe Chip Kelly's gonna want to have a troublemaker back there, and he's gonna want to deal with somebody like that.
I don't know. It's going to be tough to see. I just think that you look at the current teams that right now need to get their starting quarterback. There's the Jets, but it seems like Fitz and the Jets are kind of going to figure this out because one, Fitz is dumb if he leaves, and the Jets would be kind of stupid to let him go. And when you really look at it, Fitzpatrick is asking for such a big price that no all the other teams are going to pay him. So he's going to eventually probably have to come down to go to the Jets. That's one team. Then you got the Broncos in desperate need. Seemed like they really wanted Kaepernick. Obviously, he seems like he wants to go to Cleveland. So if you get Kaepernick to Cleveland, Broncos still need someone. Well, their second choice was RG3. And if then they went with RG3, it leaves the Browns in a situation where obviously you have that number 2 overall pick and you sign a guy. But, I'm sorry, no. It leaves the 49ers in a situation where obviously you need someone else. You have the number 7 overall pick, and you'd probably be able to get your first choice quarterback because the Browns then wouldn't be picking one. But, what do you really want to bring a rookie into that situation, or do you want to maybe give Johnny Manziel a shot? Which isn't it's not the worst idea.
I was just about to say that it's not the worst idea in the world. He could make things happen with that team because if there's someone to scramble around and make something happen with players that aren't at the elite level. Because let's be honest, at the 49ers on the offensive side of the ball, they're not doing that well. I can't think of a lot of threats that they have. I think it's a guy like Johnny Manziel who could scramble, who can play the read option, who can just try to do anything possible to get the offense rolling.
Yeah, I mean, the other way I could also look at it, the quarterbacks in this draft class aren't guys where most people feel like they're must-haves, right? No one feels like it's Andrew Luck, Jameis Winston, Mariota. You don't really have that feeling about these guys. But that's not even my biggest point. You look at Carson Wentz, you look at Paxton Lynch, and you look at Jared Goff. They're not. They all kind of have athleticism, but they're not that Marcus Mariota type fit for the Chip Kelly offense. Why not get a guy like Johnny Manziel who is? See what happens. If it fails, the 49ers will probably be having one of the worst records. Maybe you get in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes for next year, who would be perfect for that offense.
Yeah, and I think if they're gonna go down that route, it's gonna be with some sort of they're gonna tell Johnny is you better clean up your act. First thing you something happens, you're done. And I think rightfully so that if they would do that, but it's gonna be hard to see, and I'm looking forward to see how quickly he his speculation rambles, see where he's gonna go, but I'm excited.
Yeah, a lot of it's going to have to do with where the other pieces fall, though, for sure.
All right, guys, you heard it here first. Johnny Manziel is now a free agent. Have a good one, folks.